Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and today we are in a new location in my living room because we are going to do a game today inspired by the book Leo and Elliot Brooks. So I will be leaving both her videos down below because it wasn't my idea, but I will gladly participate in this, and we're going to play Never Have I Ever But Bookish edition. So I have with me this shaker thing. I think that it is gin tonic cucumber. I'm not too sure, but this is what we're going to be drinking. There we go. All right, so I have the prompts with me, and if I have done them, I will be taking a drink, and if I have not, I will not be taking a drink. If you want to play along at home, I gladly would recommend you to do so. If you want to play along, if you are a reader in any sort, I'm sure you can play this game with me. Never have I ever settled on just scanning a book because it was too boring. Yeah. Oh, this is good. Yes, I have settled on just scanning a book. I think that whenever I read a book and I'm like at least 50 to 100 pages in and I'm still not interested, I will start like scanning, going ahead, skipping some pages, just because I don't care much, but I have put money into the book, so I want my money's worth, at least. Never have I ever spilled food or drinks on a book. I don't think I have, because I'm very careful with my reading and I don't want anything on my books. I don't like pages that are spilled with water, coffee, whatever it is. And I don't eat while reading because I read with both my hands on the book. So whenever I would eat, it would be completely pointless. If I eat, it will be things that I know cannot be put on the book, like grapes. Never have I ever looked up spoilers. No, I don't think I have. I have been spoiled, but it wasn't on purpose, and I definitely was not looking for the spoilers ahead of time. I was just spoiled and I did not want to, but it happened. Never have I ever skipped a few pages ahead to see how things are going to turn out. I do that quite often, honestly, and I'm not proud of it because I want to enjoy the moment of actually reading it and finding out what happens, but I don't have that patience. If I know something is going to happen by the end of the chapter and I'm like a page away from the end of the chapter, I will start reading ahead just to see if anything bad happens, because I don't want anything bad to happen. And so if I'm afraid a character is going to die or something's going to happen to them, I will just skip a few paragraphs ahead to just see if something like really bad happens, and after I just go back and reread the whole thing. So yeah. Never have I ever thrown a book across the room in frustration. I don't think I have done that, just because I care way too much about my books than the normal person would, and if I'm just really angry, I will just stop reading, but I won't throw the book across the room. I won't even throw it like a little bit, so I'm not that kind of person. Never have I ever left a book unread on my shelf for years. For this, I think I should take like 100 sips, because there are books on my shelves right now that have been unread for at least 4 years, and I feel so bad. I want to unhaul them, but at the same time I feel like I might read them someday, so I don't know what to do with myself. Never have I ever lied about loving a book for a special person. I don't think I have. Maybe if someone comes to me and says, oh my god, this book, I loved it so much, but I didn't like it, I won't say like, oh my god, I hated it, but I will just like let the person talk and talk about what she liked about the book, but I won't say that I love the book for them, but I won't say what I think. Never have I ever forgotten to do something important because you were reading. I don't want to edit my videos, I read. It is such the worst thing that you can do because you have to edit, you have to do it, and most of the time I don't not enjoy editing. I kind of like it, but sometimes if I have too much on my plate and I don't want to edit, I will just go read and procrastinate by doing something that actually is productive. So in my brain, I'm doing something good, but it's not. Never have I ever purposely broken the spine on a book. I don't think I have. I do break spines sometimes, but it's never on purpose. Because if the spine is like really, really clean and I just start reading and at some point I will just like try to open it a little bit more to actually see what I'm reading and it breaks, it's not actually my fault. It's not intentional at that point, but I do break spines sometimes. Never have I ever hated the main love interest and loved the evil instead. Well, we have many books to account this for. So we have the Grisha trilogy, we have the Shatter Me series, we have the, well, no, wait. No, not the Eleanor Chronicles, because it's only one main love interest. But like, it's my favorite kind of trope, loving the wrong person and shipping them with the main character because they're just, it's something about them that just bothers me to the point that I want them to end up together, and I ship it. I do, I'm sorry. Not sorry. Never have I ever lied about reading a book. I don't think I have, and even if I did, it would be weird because if somebody asks me if I've read a certain book and I say yes, I would have to explain if I love it or not and why, and I would have no answer because I haven't read the book. So I don't see the point in doing that. Maybe like for high school, I probably did not read a certain book and said that I did, but no, I think I did read the books. Never have I ever DNF'd a book after less than 50 pages. I'm not proud of this, but there are some books that are just not for me, and I don't see the point in going on any further because I just know that I will have no pleasure in reading the book. So, however, most books that I DNF are books that I have not purchased myself. So there's like a good reason why, like I chose them probably for the cover or just because they looked good, but not actually because I was actually really interested in the story. Never have I ever looked up a character and got spoiled by the results. I don't do that. I don't Google characters because I didn't know it was a thing that you could do. And now I'm realizing that a lot of my reviews could have been bettered. I don't know if that's a word, but they could have been much better if I just had looked up certain names that I had forgotten, certain relationships that I had forgotten about certain characters. So I didn't know that there was like a Wikipedia page for like every character that exists that are at least a little bit popular, so it's good to know. Never have I ever fallen asleep and let the book fall on my face. No. Because you would have to be reading the book like on your, not on, but like above your head to fall on your head, which I don't understand the concept of reading like this. I find it very tiring. I don't like it. If I read and I fall asleep, the book will just fall on my lap. Just like this. Or fall on me, but not on my face. Never have I ever skipped to the end to see if what I've speculated is right. I've never done that, and I'm really proud of it because it's not something that people should do, I think. It takes away the fun of reading I believe. It's fun to be surprised sometimes. I have said that I skip ahead sometimes, a few pages, but I will never skip ahead to the actual ending of a book because I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Never have I ever dropped a book in a bath. I have never done that because I'm so scared of doing it that whenever I would read in the bath, like this is the edge of the bath, I would read my book like this, on the edge, because if it falls on the ground and not in the water. So I wouldn't say that it was a pleasant experience reading in bath because I was just so nervous of falling asleep or just being clumsy and dropping the book in the water. So I have never done that. I have no intention of doing that because I'm so scared for my books. My mom has done that multiple times, and the books are like, they were this big and now after being dropped in the water, they're this big, which to me it's a problem because I still don't have a lot of space in my bookshelves, so I can't do that with my books or else I will have no other place for my books to go. Never have I ever skipped a POV that bored me. I remember I read The Fifth Wave. I don't remember much of it because that was like 6 years ago, but there was Cassie's point of view and somebody else's point of view, and this somebody else's point of view was so uninteresting that I would just skip ahead to Cassie's point of view, and I missed a lot of important stuff. I DNF'd that book because I couldn't understand a thing because I had skipped way too many chapters, so it's on me. Never have I ever borrowed a book and never given it back. This, I won't talk too much about it because I don't feel good about this, but a friend of mine in high school, I borrowed her books, like at least 10 books, and we ended up not talking to each other anymore. And so I still had all her books, and when I moved out of my parents' house, I gave the books away to charity. So I'm not proud of that, but like I didn't have space for all these books and I wasn't interested in reading them anymore, so I'm very sorry. Never have I ever recommended a book that I haven't read. I don't think I have ever done that. I would recommend books, but like I would say it to the person that I haven't read it. Same thing as like TV shows or movies. If I know that somebody likes a certain type, I would probably recommend another movie or TV show that is in the same area, even if I haven't seen them because I just know what it is. But I would tell the person that I haven't seen it, because it would be a little bit hypocrite to say like, oh my god, it's so good, and it ends up being like boring and you didn't know. Never have I ever bought the second or third installment before the first. Not in the context as it is, but I have. I have read To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I borrowed it at a library and I wanted to continue it and it wasn't available, so I bought the second and third installment. But I had already read the first one, so it's fine. Never have I ever judged someone by the book that they're reading. Listen, I love all people, but sometimes I will see someone reading a book and I will be just like, why? Why would you read this? Sometimes my sister reads some books and I'm like, why? But it's her style. It's the genre of book that she likes, so it's fine, but I wouldn't read those. Never have I ever drawn on a book. Not drawn, but written in a book. Alright, so my battery died, so I had to wait for it to go back to full capacity. I need to buy myself another battery, obviously. Okay, never have I ever not returned a library book. I have never done that because when you don't return a library book, every day that passes is 10 cents that you have to give back when you actually give back the book. So it would be a fortune if I had forgotten a book to give back, because it would be like $50 maybe if it takes months for me to realize I haven't given it back. So I don't borrow books from the library too often because of that. Never have I ever bought a book just for the pretty cover. I obviously have done that many times. I've been doing better for the last couple of years or months. I've been trying not to buy books from the cover. However, if I see a good cover, I might be more interested into reading the back cover to see what the story is about. But I won't buy it like impulsively just because of the cover. Never have I ever bought a book without knowing anything about the plot. I don't think I've ever done that. I think I have done that, but not buying the book, like borrowing a book that I just thought was pretty or that I know was super hyped up on BookTube, but I have never but I have never personally bought with my money a book that I had no idea what it was about, but I have done it with a library book. Never have I ever DNF'd a book. Well, sometimes books are just not your cup of tea. Sometimes they're just not your style, your genre of book that you read normally. So yeah, it happens sometimes. Never have I ever not DNF'd a horrible book to count it in my Goodreads challenge. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe, oh wait, no. I have done that with The Alchemist by Kaale, just because I was listening to it as an audiobook and it was like 40 or like an hour left of listening to it to get to the end. So I was like, might as well just finish it. I was doing a puzzle at that time, so it's not like I was doing anything else super important, so I could just listen to it and finish it. But if I had been reading it, I think I would not have continued reading the book. Never have I ever stayed up all night to finish a book. I have stayed up, not all night, but I have stayed up really late to read a book, but I've never finished a book super late. Never have I ever didn't read a book because of the cover. No. That would be weird. I might not be interested into reading the back cover of the book, but if I know what it is and the cover is just horrible, I will still read it. I might not buy it. I might just borrow it or listen to it as an audiobook, but it's not going to stop me from reading or listening to the book. Never have I ever ripped a page in a book. Well, not intentionally, but I have. It's a while ago, but I had some magnetic bookmarks, and for some reason I always wanted to put them at the edge of the book, but that made them really heavy, and so that when I would open the book, the page with the magnetic bookmark on it sometimes would rip because it was too heavy for the page, and I didn't realize it until I ripped a page. So nowadays I don't use magnetic bookmarks anymore because it was way too dangerous for my books. Never have I ever read something I was ashamed of. I don't think I have ever been ashamed of something. Maybe I didn't like the book, or I knew it wasn't a popular book, but I wasn't ashamed of reading it and talking about it. Never have I ever written a story/book or started writing a book myself. Well, this is story time. When I was 13 or 14, I wrote an entire book. It was 241 pages long, and I was so proud of that book, and I still have it at my parents' house, and I read it like I think last year to just see how it was, and it is horrible. It is, oh my god. This book should never be published anywhere. It should be burned. I was way too inspired by the Shatter Me series, and it is almost not, it's not copied because it's not word for word, but the plot lines were really very specific to the Shatter Me series. So I was way too inspired by that series because it wasn't very original, my story. So it's not good. Never have I ever gotten a book on impulse. The bookish world is a great place. I will say that. But sometimes when people recommend books, I tend to be a bit too impulsive and be like, oh my god, this is the greatest book ever. I need to read this. I need to buy it now. I've been doing that for many years. I've calmed down now. All right, we have 3 more questions and we're done because this video is going to take forever for me to edit and to you to watch, so we'll stop at some point. Never have I ever approached someone in public because I knew the book they were reading. I wish I could do something like that, just to be able to talk about something that I love with someone else. But no, I have seen people reading books that I have already read and that I liked, but I've never gotten to speak to them and say that this book was amazing or anything. I'm way too shy for that. I wouldn't go talk to people. Never have I ever burned books. Well, they're not fictional books, but I have burned many theoretical books from school. It was great fun. Last question, never have I ever watched BookTube instead of reading. Instead of doing most things, I think BookTube is a great place to procrastinate. I mean, what are you doing watching this video? I'm guessing it is either to procrastinate your homework or your studying or your chores, anything that you can possibly think of doing. You will find a place in BookTube or in YouTube to just watch and not do anything else, basically. I do it all the time. So that was it, guys, for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Tell me down below if you have done or if you will do this game, because I would really like to know if anybody else would do it, because I've only seen a few people on BookTube to do it. So I would love to see, well, to know your opinion about these things, if you have done them or not. And yeah, I will see you guys next week with a new video.